Anger, which is an natural emotion to us, what we feel toward the other person or the other thing. Well, when we feel that someone or some other thing did something wrong with us or something wrong happened with us, so we feel naturally angry. It is a natural emotion. And when we look at this natural emotion, so it has been part of our evolution, because as we evolved like billions of years evolution, so anger also played a very important part in that evolution. Like all emotions, be it happiness, sadness, same anger also played a very important part to make us what we are as a species today, right? And so when we look at in today's contemporary world's condition, so anger as an emotion, I know it's a natural emotion, but it has only a negative consequence. When we look at anger, always have a severe consequence or a negative consequence, because I know we feel instant gratification while what you can say while being angry. Because what is the natural cause of anger? Natural cause of anger, something wrong doing happened with us. It's our feeling, right? And when we feel that something wrong happened with us, so it's very natural that we will retaliate, or at least we will respond, right? And if our response comes as anger, as an emotion of anger, so it naturally has to be a violent reaction, a violent response. So a violent response is only called like a anger, right? And when we call this violent reaction or a violent response, so this violent response will definitely lead to a bad consequence, because violence can't be good, right? And when we look at this full scenario of anger, like a response with violent emotions, so violent action, so definitely this anger can't be good as per contemporary law or the society's rules, right? So when we look at in today's world, anger might not be important, but we shall not forget that it has been part of our emotion and it's a natural to us. We just can't undo or can't erase it, right? We can replace for sure, but we can't erase it, or at least we can what you can say, if you just think by good point of view, so we can suppress it, or we can overcome anger with some other emotion, more powerful emotion, right? And one more important drawback of anger is that when we feel angry, when we feel naturally angry, so our basic conscience, our basic conscience of our thought stops working, kind of stops working. Because when you are angry, so you don't think in a conscience manner, or we can say in a calm manner, right? Because you are already angry, so if your anger takes over your other thought process. It just does not let you think in natural way. It just suppress those feelings, and anger comes as more profound, or we can say a more violent way, right? And when we look at the angers this way or this condition, so definitely anger is very powerful emotion. When as we normally discuss about this emotion of love, emotion of fear, and there are many other emotions, so anger is one of the most powerful what you can say emotion. If we are talking about so love, we can literally compete with the love, because anger, when we are talking about, so it is yes, we can say it's a naturally opposite to love. And the love, as we know, it's a very powerful emotion. So anger also we can keep at the same category of the power, the weightage it has as an emotion, right? And as I said, it's this emotion, this powerful emotion, so definitely it would be very hard to control anger or to overcome anger. And there are the many persons who try anger to they try to suppress anger with their meditation, with their mindfulness, with their other activities. Or some persons use anger in other way, they just divert their anger, because as I said, anger is a and very powerful emotion. And this powerful emotion cannot be just like ignored. It has to be either channelized to some other way, or other we have to show anger toward the particular thing, right? So when we see the today's law scenario or the today's social scenario, so definitely we can't be angry or violent, we can't be, because if you do that, so definitely it will lead to severe consequence in future. So the only way to deal with anger is either we channelize it, right? We can channelize our anger to do to achieve the task what we want, to respond with our more powerful success, right? Because what's hurting us, what's giving us pain, so we can overcome that pain or the hurting with our more what you can say, more preparedness, right? So if we make ourselves more liable that that pain can't hurt us, so that's a diversion of anger, we can say. We can use that anger emotion in that diversion way, right? Some person feel anger, they just channelize anger till that extent that today, due to that anger's emotion or the power of the anger's emotion, they became one of the most successful person on this earth. And it is possible. As I said, when anger is competing with the love in its power or weightage, so definitely anger also have what you can say, it has that potential to give you what you want. But if you channelize it wellly, right? And when we try to understand this anger scenario, so the only thing naturally as a human being we can understand that okay, it has been part of our evolution. All animals show like they compete with each other, they fight with each other, but we are human. We can't do that, right? Because after all, we have developed our conscience as well, our conscience and the way how we think, our thought process, right? So we just cannot fight like animal or like other species. We are more evolved, so it's our responsibility. As I say always, it's our responsibility now to not feel anger in natural way. I know if it is still coming, because as I said, it's like part of our evolution. We cannot just ignore it totally. If it's still generating inside, so we have to channelize this anger rather than throwing on that or responding on the spot, right? Because if you respond, so that will create chaos in society, chaos in your particular situation or the condition, and definitely severe consequence for you in future, and you don't want that, right? So the only way or the best way is just to channelize your anger toward becoming more successful. And it's a very powerful emotion, remember, very powerful emotion. Just to channelize the power, you do not have to ignore, because if you are ignoring this, so definitely you are quitting this power. You don't have to quit. You just channelize this emotion toward your success, toward whatever you want to achieve, or toward the response in the positive way, positive response, right? So if we try to understand, so definitely with today's discussion, we can understand anger as I said, it's a natural, but channelization of anger is a natural way to deal with it, and which is a more ethical, more social way today in our society. And yes, naturally, if you will ask, so I will ask you to not be angry at all, because anger, as I said, it has been part of evolution, but today we don't need this. As we are evolving, so we have to think as evolved species, evolved human, right? So we just sometime we try to suppress. If we still are unable to suppress or still can't ignore, but still anger is coming, so we have to channelize this. This is the best way to deal with it, right? I hope today's video was very helpful. I could give you a little insight about the anger or the understanding about the anger scenario. If it did help you a little bit, so please subscribe. And yes, in future, keep searching around this channel, because this channel only has these kind of content. This channel is full of these kind of content. So if you did not subscribe, so please leave in comment section what's the reason that you did not subscribe, or you probably you did not like the way how I speak, how I expressed this thing, and probably there is some point of what I could not put, you want to put. So please use the comment section to do that. And yes, otherwise please subscribe. It would be great help. And yes, leave comment. That would be better, please. So please take care. If you have any kind of query, any kind of suggestion, so you can use comment section. By then, please take care.